Welcome to this episode. Today we talk about a strategy which is basically used by everyone who's in crypto, but only a very small percentage of people actually know how to use that strategy the right way, which is HODLing. And we basically will talk about some myths about HODLing and also where it makes sense and where it's maybe the worst idea ever. And without further ado, let's get into it. Jack.
Let's get into it, man. I have a very nice view of elephants behind. But so elephants can hold a lot of weight. Can you hold the weight of your crypto bags? This is the biggest question that many people have, and if HODLing is good. And my answer is, first of all, it's yes and no, but first of all, let's define HODL. Why is it HODL and not hold?
That's actually a good question. I never thought about that. HODL. You have to tell me that.
It's just some crypto slang, and it's also with like send it,
Yeah.
Because when you're so excited and you type, like there's some people who did typos like sned it, and then it kind of sticks with people, It's with the same thing with like HODL.
Yeah.
I think some guy accidentally put like, instead of hold was like HODL, and it was kind of funny, and then everyone was using it, and now it became a thing. So this is why people. Okay, now that we know where it comes from, like what is HODLing? Like, why are we talking about this?
Okay, the classic approach, like the idea where it came from, is that you buy Bitcoin once, and because Bitcoin will go to infinity, you basically never sell your Bitcoin position.
Diamond hands.
Yeah, diamond hands. You never sell. It's basically, and this is the idea of HODLing, of holding a position, even if it goes down, no matter like if it's raining, if it's sunshine, whatever, you hold this position for an infinite amount of time. And people took that concept also to other cryptocurrencies, meaning nowadays people HODL Ethereum or HODL Solana. And this is basically the idea. You just hold a currency for a very long time and you do not sell, because this would speak against the ethos, against being part of a specific group, and would basically be a step in the back in some communities.
Yeah, that's a good summary. Yeah, that's it. And basically, like, many people come to us and they don't know exactly how long they should hold a currency.
Yeah.
And I must say that nowadays, it has. Well, okay, we're just going. In my opinion, you have assets which are worth HODLing and some which are not. And Robin talked a little bit about this, where it came from. And I think you have some major coins like Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, and maybe some other coins in the future, which you can actually hold for 5 to 10 years, which kind of acts like a fund. It's like the S&P 500.
Yeah.
You invest in it and you get your 10, 20% yearly. So this is how I look at these assets, and they're there to hedge against the demise of the US dollar.
Yeah.
And for me, this is the best hedge. And I think that these three coins will at least be here for the next 5 years. So these are the only currencies I would HODL for 5 years. Now, the altcoin space is full of shit talkers. Do you know that feeling when you go on a website and they promise you they will save all the elephants, all the giraffes, all the animals with the new blockchain, and they will save the world?
Yeah.
Yeah, guess what, guys? It's all bullshit. It's all just like, that scene from Wolf of Wall Street, where the guy's like, it's just for gays, dude. It's for guys. It's a woo. It's exactly this. It's just like words on a screen that don't mean shit. So basically, you don't want to hold any altcoin, because on a long enough time frame, they will all go to zero. And if you know that all of these coins will go to zero, and I would say that the time scale nowadays is 2 years. I wouldn't really hold a coin longer than 2 years. This is like the maximum I would hold a coin. Why would you ever hold an altcoin? Of course, you might catch the next Ethereum, the next Bitcoin, but how big is the probability that you actually found this coin? So it's way better to have a mix of HODL coins and coins that you don't HODL and kind of play both. So for altcoins, I have this rule, this 2-year rule. I will never hold an altcoin over 2 years. And yeah, this is basically the first thing we can say about HODL and the 2 categories we have in HODL.
Yeah, and I would maybe add to that, because to me it sounded strange in the beginning. So why can you HODL these coins, and why not other fundamentally stronger currencies, like for example Link? Link is also a strong fundamentally currency, strong fundamental currency out there. So why shouldn't you hold Link or HODL Link? And the reason for that is like the risk associated to this asset, and the market risk to a very, like, let's say you have a currency where not much money is parked inside. The volatility associated to that asset, like the amount can go up and it can go down, it's very high. And when you look at Bitcoin and Ethereum, they also can dump a lot and move around a lot. But compared to all the other assets in crypto, they are moving less. And this is basically the reason why you don't HODL altcoins, even if they are fundamentally strong. You always want to think about risk. And the HODL side of your portfolio should be the secure side, the side which delivers you gains, or like you said, secures you against inflation. And the other side is there for gains. And this side needs a more active approach.
The thing is, if you look at the cryptocurrency space, we're at 2.2 trillion at the moment.
Yeah,
it's quite big. How many coins do you think make up this market cap?
I would say like the whole market cap, or like the biggest part?
The biggest part.
I would say it's Bitcoin. Bitcoin makes 60% right now.
Obviously.
Bitcoin, then you have Ethereum, Solana,
all right, bro.
Maybe the USDT, like the top 5.
The top 10 make up 91% of the whole market cap, which means from the inception of Bitcoin, from 2008 to 2024 we have right now, it's going to be 2025 soonish. So in those years, it's been many years, only maybe four or five cryptos have survived.
Yeah.
And how many have been created? Millions. Or do you know, like Donald Trump?
Billions.
Yeah. Just like a lot have been created. And only a few have made it in the top and stayed there for multiple cycles.
Yeah.
So why would you invest in altcoins? Why would you HODL them? Do you know how small the probability is? We have 5 coins versus millions of coins.
Yeah.
So the probability that you found the one altcoin that's going to stay at the top for 10 years is pretty fucking small.
You can play like some lottery and it would be safe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So like, okay, so we know that HODLing only makes sense for maximum Bitcoin, Solana, and Ethereum. I would also suggest only to HODL Bitcoin. So altcoins, you don't want to HODL.
You don't HODL.
You want to have a more active approach. You said like the principle of never holding a currency on altcoin more than 2 years. Would you say that even for Bitcoin, a slightly more active approach would also make sense?
If you know what you're doing, yes. But for 99% of people, do you know who makes the most money?
Investors.
In the S&P 500?
And the people who buy the index.
No, dead people. Actually, that's true. If you look it up, they make more money than active traders. Why? Because they just HODL an asset that just goes up.
Yeah.
So for me, you can try to trade the seasons, and for us, actually, we made more money with that. But it's for 99% of people, it's not worth the effort, I would really say. So if you actually want to invest time and make more money and want to make crypto your main thing, yes. But I would just suggest having your job and using Bitcoin as a cash flow machine, just like as an index that's going to grow over time. Yeah. And then altcoins, this is where the fun is. You take a little percentage of your portfolio and then you can not hodl it, but you can just play around with it.
Yeah.
If you know exactly what you're doing, you can multiply your wealth with it. However, now we've established HODL, 1, maybe 3 assets if you want to take risk. All the rest you don't HODL. But I argue that the art of HODLing makes you rich in altcoins.
In altcoins?
I think HODLing makes you rich.
Okay.
Which contradicts everything I just said.
The art of HODLing, depending on which time scale.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not talking about years, but I'm talking about HODLing through volatility.
Yeah.
And I've heard the quotes, and this is a very fine line between being retarded and smart. And that's like the one who can stomach the most volatility makes the most profit. And you can be an idiot and buy a coin and be, oh, I'm going to HODL it, and it's going to zero.
Yeah.
But you can also know, okay, this coin is in a certain narrative. I look at the team. I know that this marketing guy is a fucking genius and it's going to get listed here and here, and this is the roadmap.
Yeah.
And I think the probability of this coin going up after an 80% dump is quite high, or 60%. It's a normal thing because in the 4-year cycles, you have a cycle which goes up, and in the mid-cycle, you have a slowdown, so this is the perfect moment to buy, etc. Stuff like that.
There was much alpha.
Yeah, there was a lot of alpha in there. So, because you can also get emotional with HODLing, and let's say you have a really good altcoin, you did your analysis right, like we taught you, for example.
Yeah.
Like Robin is super good at teaching that. And after that, it does like a 50%, but not because it's bad, but because the whole market goes down.
Yeah.
Like, this is completely normal.
Yeah.
And then you panic, you're like, shit, I lost half of my money, I'm gonna sell that, and it just does a 10x.
I have again like a story for that. Like in the last bull run, actually, I made an analysis on one specific project, which was fundamentally pretty strong. I didn't buy it because it wasn't like the perfect time, but when I looked at it again at the beginning of this bull cycle, I saw that the fundamentals only increased and only were so much better than in the last bull run. They continue to develop. I don't go too deep into it, but basically the fundamentals look pretty strong, and I said, okay, you know what, I will invest here. I think I also told you about it, and you were like, what the fuck is this? I never heard about it. So, but
I think
in the end, it went down a bit. But after, I think, 3 months of HODLing, where the coin basically went down 50%, it went up, like from my position, 13x, which is a very nice increase in value. So what you said, volatility in crypto is can be your best friend, but also your worst enemy if you don't know how to handle it. And because volatility often leads to emotions, and if you have a logical approach, HODLing, and just not looking at the screen, if you know the fundamentals are right, and you have your exit strategy for the up and the down side, the volatility is only something that will take your profits. And in this case, I agree, HODLing can make you rich, but the time scale is important.
Exactly. And I just have this picture in my head of Axie Infinity. This was one of the gaming coins, which absolutely destroyed everything in the last cycle, which mooned what was one of the best performing coins. And I just remember a chart of the last cycle, and it was actually during the COVID crash. Most altcoins, by the way, the whole market almost went to zero. I don't know if you remember that, but this was crazy. I actually thought Bitcoin was going to zero. Yeah. It was falling that fast. And Axie Infinity did a minus 85%. Yeah. And then it just skyrocketed and went to 20 billion. I think it was either FDV or market cap, which is like insane for a gaming coin. It was the first time we saw that. Crazy, yeah. And so if you're a guy and you know that this is going to be the next big thing, you've analyzed the data, the users, you know the hype, you know the mind share, everyone's talking about it. This is just like a temporary drawdown. But as you said, it's the time scale, and you can use the 2-year HODL thing. I think this is a good measure. And as a topic for another thing, like new coins versus old coins, I think once you invest into one coin, you shouldn't invest into it again, unless it's for short-term trading. But all of that just to say that HODLing is also a skill which can make you money. However, you need to understand in which market phase you are, how long you should HODL, how long you have left of the cycle, what catalysts are still in there for the coin.
Yeah.
And these are all things that we teach. It's a bit, there's not a general rule for every coin because the variables are a lot, but we have a whole module on that, on when to exit positions.
Yeah.
And I think that shows the line on how to differentiate like the real HODL with a bad one. You know, it's
yeah, exactly. The bad one is when some guy in a Discord tells you, "Do not sell," even if the team one of the devs is like a known rugged.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So HODLing is something you do not because anybody of the team or anyone of the team tells you, but because your analyzers is telling you should HODL this position because it's a pretty strong one, and then you just act based on certain rules that you defined for your specific position. And as Jacques said, every coin is different, and every coin has a different catalyst. Some have like category, but okay, I don't go into that. But every investment in crypto is different, and you should treat it differently because there's so many things you need to look at. But if you understood the whole situation around a coin, then you have your set of rules for that specific coin. You know how long to HODL it, and just forget the idea that every altcoin which is out there is a coin you want to HODL. We don't have that much time left, but
just to recap everything, like only HODL a few currencies. Detach yourself emotionally completely from altcoins. Do not ever HODL them for a long time, especially not for a period that's longer than 2 years, especially not if we're kind of the end of the bull market.
Yeah.
And if you know what you're doing, HODL some altcoins through volatility, and you'll be better than 99% of people if you just know these principles. Only HODL Bitcoin, Ethereum, others. Do not ever hold altcoins for 2 years and some parameters, and know the fine line between good HODLing and bad HODLing, which is exactly what we teach. So if you want help with that, you can DM Robin anytime.
Yeah.
Do you want to go on from here?
Yeah, all right.
If you do the outro.
Yeah, if you want our guidance.
More details about all of that.
About the strategies that we use, about the criteria that we look at, and how we basically survive and thrive in crypto, then just click the link in the bio. You can also DM me on Instagram, like Jörg said, or I think these are the only two ways. And again, so click the link in the bio, write me a DM on Instagram, and if you think that this episode is something that also helps out a friend of yours, which might is not really knowing what he is or what she is doing in crypto, then share this episode. And with that being said,
like, share, subscribe, comment. We're going through every comment, guys. We will answer everyone. We will help every one of you. We love you. See you.
See you in the next one. Bye-bye.